Listening while he's working. Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Danny. He's lurking in the background.
Hey, Danny. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for coming. Faye Cole's checking in. We're going to give everybody a few. I always like to give people like 2 minutes to
Yeah,
kind of get on.
well, they're getting the notification right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, thanks for having me on, Nancy.
Well, thank you for coming over. I appreciate it. I know it's morning to you. It's
Yes.
afternoon to me.
Yeah, it's morning. Well, it's mid-morning. It's like 11 o'clock for me. So,
Yeah,
good time of day.
it's not too bad.
No.
Yeah, in
So,
24 hours, I'll be at the physical terrorist. So.
well, you seem to be enjoying it, though.
Yeah, it's working. It's actually working. He gave me some tests the first day I got there, and now I've been doing it 3 weeks, and we did some going over those tests, and they were basically balance and holding your balance tests,
Uh-huh.
and I sailed through all of them. So I mean, not the first time. First time I was a little wobbly. This time I could hold it. So we're strengthening those muscles on the sides of my legs that had gotten tired and old and unused, and that's my fault, you know. But
Yeah, well, a lot of us did that when we went in with COVID. I always got a little lazy.
mm-hmm. Well, I there's a bunch of things to work your legs that I can do while I'm cooking,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
right.
So I can like hold myself up and then put my feet flat and put my feet at funny angles to each other. And that's very, something I can do while I'm doing something else. Nothing is as strange to me as standing there holding a position when you're just sitting there holding a position. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Well, we got 15 hardy folks ready to learn this stuff.
Oh,
So,
thanks, sir. Thanks for coming.
hi, Denise, and hi, Darlene. Um, what I'm going to show you, I'm going to show this at the beginning of the show. And this is going to come up and it should I'm going to tell you what you're going to be looking at. Someone sent Scott Allen of Spiritual Essence a video, and she said she'd taken it 3 years ago when she was videotaping her very beautiful daffodil garden. And I guess she was putting all the tapes she had of the daffodils to compare them year over year. And she realized she hadn't seen it for 3 years, and she didn't realize what she'd captured when she filmed it. So he sent it to me. Okay, we're going to take it back, and I'm going to tell you what you're looking at. If you look right above where the little speaker, you can see the speaker mark, Dr. Gail?
The
Right
speaker.
above that, there's a little green dot.
Mhm.
Okay, when I let it go, see how it flits across?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not a bug, that's a fairy. And then you can see it's not a flaw in her camera because this is her filming the rest of the yard. So when people say, are there fairies? This is a person who sent me this picture. And she's about as good as I am with the no offense with the thing about rocking it around too much. But she did have a beautiful daffodil garden. You can see why she would want to go film it. So we're gonna go start it again.
Well, I thought what was amazing is that seeing something up in the tree also.
Yeah, if you look up in the tree, and I can hold this, freeze it for a second. If you look up in the tree between the two branches, just above where the split in the tree is, it's like there's something else sitting there. It's not a branch,
Mhm.
it's not anything else. It's just something's also sitting watching over this garden. And the green dot starts not quite halfway from the left side in. And I'm going to run it again. So if you didn't see it the first time, you can see it. Here it goes. There it goes. I mean, it's that quick. They're that quick. And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is I'm uh, I'm working with Hogarth, the winter tree, and I think if you saw me last year, this was what Hogarth looked like in the dead of winter. And this is just before he disappeared. I mean, his energy was there, but he couldn't talk. He was going into the ground.
Yeah,
And from
disappeared.
that, I found ley lines, bright yellow ley lines that ran off of him. And someone had once told me gnarly trees are gnarly because they have too much energy running through them from having a ley line run underneath them. So this is Hogarth now. This is Hogarth in the spring. And I went out to see him, and I was looking at this side, well, the side that just has lumps on it. And he said, "Oh no, walk around me." And the whole other side of him is blooming with little treelets that are coming out on him. And I told him the ley line looks like it's shrinking. You can see it's kind of fading away. It's becoming overtaken with the grass. And he said, it's not going dormant. It's just that there's more, the grass can fight its way back in better. And he talks, when I hear his voice, he's very slow, like something that's sitting there and hasn't have any reason to be faster than it needs to be. And so I asked him about coming out to talk to him, and he said, "Oh, you don't have to walk out here and talk to me. I can reach you in your house. I know where your energy goes now." So he'll talk to me. And he said, "They're going to be visiting you off the ley line, because when I tried to walk on the ley line, I went out and measured it, and it got really wide before the equinox, and then it's kind of shrunk back to about half its width." And he told me that the spirits, the sprites and things that run up and down the ley line can come over and visit me in my house. And a couple days later, I was sitting in my living room, and my office is, I have my living room, the kitchen, and then my office. And I was talking with him, and all of a sudden I was sitting in my living room, and I heard wind chimes in my office. And I thought my computer must have come on by itself. So I came running back to find out the computer wasn't on. There's no radios back here. There's no wind chimes back here. So I looked around. I said, "Oh, you're here visiting me." And they don't like stand in front of you. That's what's so amazing about that video that I'll play later in the show of the fairy going bloop, 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 and then they come to the side of they're just that kind of a little blinky light, and they're there. And let's see, I'm going to show this question. Would that be his vibration frequency as the sap flows through him? I have no idea. I don't know how fast or slow sap flows through him. I just know it's like very old and very steady, and like I'm not moving anywhere quickly, because he certainly isn't. Do you have anything else to say about that, Dr. Gail?
What I got, old painter, was the sap is a conduit
Mm-hmm.
for the frequency and the vibration. That it's just a conduit that is going. And they're showing me it's like our blood going through our bodies. It's a conduit. So,
well, if it's true, he's not hypertensive. To put it mildly. We did get a couple comments before the show, and Dr. Gail and I discussed this one. It was Prince Charming's mom. She took a class, learned about shaman to talk to trees, fairies, etc. She talks to 2 trees outside her front door every morning, and she thanks them for being there. And then the I that's on the end of this, I left it on purpose. You can only put 200 characters in a banner. She wants to know if the trees think she should move. And since we're working with vibrational feelings, I got no. I got that it's up to you. The idea of moving is not coming from them pushing you. It's coming from your own insides. And you just need to decide.
yeah, that's all I got was your choice. I didn't get any yes or no. I went, that's her choice. The trees will always be connected to her.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're pushing you out or anything else. I mean, okay. And then this came in my comments. This is going to be good. Yeah, Danny, we're working on it. And then oil painter. She listens to trees. She talks to trees. They're so fabulous. I have 3 very tall pine trees in my backyards. She calls them the 3 wise men, Balthazar, Casper, and then we ran out of characters again, guys. So it's Melchior. And then she commented that there's another tree that stands apart from them. And there's a legend of a 4th wise man who got lost and didn't make it to the manger scene. And then there's a whole myth about where he went and everything. She said she named the other tree after them. But, I think if you get to know the trees that are around you,
I
they're
think you're right.
establishing.
I think she's right. I think that is a good representation of that. Yes.
It's a reminder of that.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who are new to this, and I know there's some people who are, not getting questions. Okay. Prince Charming's mom said thank you for reading for her.
You're welcome.
Okay, no problem. For those of you who don't remember, one night I was just happy in bed about 6-7 months ago, and this character showed up, and that's Cecil. And Cecil was a dragon, and he told me he wanted to take me on a trip. So it seemed like a good idea. I don't think well in the middle of the night. So I got on his back. And by the way, he's not all scaly and hard. He's very soft and feathery, kind of. And we flew around, and we flew all around the world, and we flew through cities where you could see like the Eiffel Tower or the Tower of London, so you couldn't know where you were. And then when we got to the edge of Ireland, we dove into a whirlpool that was in the ocean. And I thought, well, this is going to be interesting. But it was dry all the way through. And there were all these sort of lights around us going down into the portal. And when I got to the bottom of the portal, and I don't have any representations of what was there, but he stopped in this clearing, and it was almost like it lives in permanent twilight. And I got off of him, and out of the woods came all these what we would call mythical beasts or mythical creatures, fairies and sprites and gnomes and leprechauns and all kinds of folks. And they said, come on with us. And a beautiful woman in a long, lovely robe walked me through the woods. And we ended up in another clearing where they were partying. And it was a representation of all the elementals, from the dragons through all the different kinds of elementals. And I said, wow, this is really cool. And I talked to them, and they were very nice. And then it became time. It was for me to go back. And I got back on Cecil's back. And I remember flying out of the portal hole. But then the next thing I knew, I woke up and I was at home. And I thought, well, that was interesting. I wonder what that was all about. And so I was getting ready to do an equinox show. Yeah. And I was just going on along blithely, getting it ready. And 2 nights later, Cecil's back in my bedroom, coming to pick me up. He said, you have to come with me again. And I went, okay, and got on him. And this time there was no flying through cities or anything. We just dove right into the portal hole. And this time when I landed in the clearing, all the critters were lined up, and the queen of the queen over them, and the queen king came up and said, you didn't get our message. You're not doing what we told you to do. And I said, what was the message? And they were that you're supposed to turn your whole equinox thing into a study of elementals. And this is like a week before I'm going to do it. And I've already lined up readers, not telling them, by the way, we're going to be talking about fairies and gnomes and stuff. So I came back home, woke up and realized what they'd said, talked it into my phone so I wouldn't forget it. And then I was walking around my house going, I'm not sure I want to do this, you know? And the reason they told me they wanted me to do it was because I knew rituals. I knew, just innately knew small rituals that can help people, and that they want humans to get used to doing rituals to connect to the earth, that we really need connected to the elementals. And then I got in my car to go drive somewhere, and I looked out the driver's window, and there was a solid gold dragonfly about this long hovering next to my car. And then it went and got in front of my windshield, and it hovered and moved along as quickly as I was. And finally I said, okay, I get it. You're going to hunt me during the day now if I don't start doing this. So I came home and started doing it, and getting me the thing together. And I did that show. So since then, they told me they wanted me to work with them too, because I understood about ley lines and land energy, earth energy. And because I work with crystals so much, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how they pick what they pick, but they pick me.
Or who they pick,
Or
because
who they pick, or what they,
yeah.
And Dr. Gail's gotten some messages too about, as we get closer to understanding all the energies that are around us. And we both have discussed, I've read some interesting books about people. We lost our ability to see the elementals when we went into the Industrial Revolution. Before that, people in most parts of the world expected to see them and expected to have them around. So, do you have a comment? I've got to go read something in the.
Well, I was going to say, I was surprised that the elementals came to me, because I'm the one that deals with the ETs and everything out there. But they came to me because I'm connected to the stars, and they wanted help with that, connecting them to the stars. That's a communication system. So anyway, they came and woke me up one night, the gnomes, going, "We're the elementals," and they were the loudest things. And they were introducing themselves, and I'm in Mount Shasta expecting to be working with the ETs, and here the elementals are. But I realize how connected they all are, as that they work together. They work from the underground to the stars, and they travel, and the communication, all of us dealing with the earth ley lines and lining up the stars and the trees. And the trees are the ones that are actually the significant thing that connects the stars to the ground, to earth, which was a real surprise to me. So anyway, that's why they came to me, because I am one that tends to be out there in space, that they were wanting my abilities to do that. The big message, though, that they have given me today is, when I was doing my interplanetary liaison job, I was going from planet to planet and listening to the issues that each planet had. And Earth, of course, had the most complaints. So I had to go to the in the ocean. I had to talk to a dolphin. Her name was Theona, and she was talking about how the issues were with the water. And we all think of trash, and she was talking about how the boats and things were the ones that were contaminating the water with their gas fumes. And also I talked to the trees, the birds, the deers, all sorts of things. And I was comfortable talking to all of them and going in all directions, except when Mother Earth wanted me to go inside of Earth. That was the most uncomfortable I've ever been, because I am the one that's out there, in the stars. So going inside of Earth was very uncomfortable. But I did it, but I kept popping my head out of the ground because I was so uncomfortable. And she laughed at me. I didn't have any problems breathing, but it was just very uncomfortable. But the message that I've been giving today is that we need to get comfortable with Earth. This is where we live. Our bodies are actually Earth. Our bodies are 3D. We're connected to Earth. We're grounded to Earth. We need to go out and ground. We need to respect Earth. And for all of us like me, who are the ones that like to be in the stars and out in space, we need to come back and ground ourselves to Earth and respect it, because our bodies, our human bodies, our 3D bodies are Earth. So that is our Earth inside of us. And that's the message they want me to convey to you. So we need to start grounding and connect with Earth, and to connect it through our bodies.
Yeah, I think nature's is what's going to heal us.
Right.
We have a couple of comments in here. Okay. Okay. Well, Painter, first year I was here, hadn't any fairy rings. Next summer, I put out 2 fairy gardens, one in the front yard where we live and the other down by the barn where they go to dinner and dance. So she's got a fairy nightclub on her property.
I have a fairy trail that I go to watch them dance.
Well, you brought fairies back into the woods, didn't you?
I did. I had to go down to this trail. I had to go 7 days straight, and I had to spend. They told me my energy was only needed there for 5 minutes. Of course, I stayed down there longer than that, but I had to go 7 days straight. And the weather was bad here at Mount Shasta at that time, so it was sometimes a struggle. But they needed my energy there to bring back the animals. There were no small animals, and it's an absolutely beautiful trail. And sure enough, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is about probably the craziest thing I've been doing. I mean, I do a lot of crazy things, but I'm going, why my energy? Why is my energy needed here? And sure enough, 7th day, first thing I heard were birds. I had not heard of birds in that area. I haven't seen the small animals, the squirrels and things yet coming back, but they needed my energy there for that help. And that is a big ley line area.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
yes.
we don't. I've never seen a squirrel on Hogarth, but you got to realize Hogarth is planted over. He started over a ley line, and that's why there's those funny bumps on him. And what's happening with those situations is there's too much energy coming from the earth into you, and unless you know how to work with it, in some cases there's not working with it. There's just getting yourself away from it, letting the earth have its trails.
Well, that's the part I don't understand. If there's such a strong energy, why did they need my energy there? Am I just there to stabilize it, or
Because something had scared it off and they needed you to bring it, make it feel connected and come back.
okay?
Remember, we're critter energy. We don't like to think of ourselves that way, but we are.
No, we are. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
Okay, do you know anything about tree language? No. And then you put see below. Well, below you is someone from Wainwright, Alberta, Canada. So I don't know what that's got to do with anything.
Well, Rowena, give us a little more there.
And then she says, oops, see above. And I went looking above her and I don't see anything about tree language. Rowanna, you've got my email. You want to come on and talk about how trees talk. All I can attest to is, how I hear Hogarth's voice. And it's kind of nice that it's so different from the other guides' voices that I have.
Well, they do talk. I mean, because I've actually, when it was wintertime, if I had touched one of the trees, they would go, ooh. We'll be touching them. And I'm going, okay, I'm sorry. I don't need, I know you're sleeping. You don't need me touching you right now. So I have heard them.
Okay, here's another question from Rohanna. Do other planets have a network of trees or something else related? Other planets you've been on?
Some do, some don't. Probably the one that I had the most trees on was the one that the Sally, that's the deer hybrid. Her planet had a lot of trees, and it had a lot of birds, a lot of butterflies, and it was very connected. But I wouldn't say all of them do. That one's the one that sticks out in my mind that had the most trees like ours and connected like ours.
Okay, this is cool. And I don't know how much. Okay. She took a workshop from Apache Indian when I lived in Florida. She taught us to give some food to the trees. When I did this, the trees started waving in thanks. And I got out of that habit. Get back into it, kid, because they're coming.
I always take them something. I take the fairies a chocolate kiss. And generally I take other things for the trees, like rocks or pine cones or something I find along the way. I find something in nature to take them.
And when I was in chiropractic school, a friend and I went to a park. I noticed trees were waving at me. It wasn't the wind. She just loves hugging trees. Yes. And the trees know their people. They know, like cats and dogs know which people are going to be okay with them.
They know your energy. I'm that really shocked me that they know who you are. I'm beginning to think they're much more intelligent than we are.
They're much more sentient than we think.
Yeah.
By a long mile.
Yeah.
Well, So that's kind of what I'm up to. And if anybody has stories or things about this, I'll show you what we started the show with, because we have 41 people now. This is a video, and you have to look at it. Okay, I got to take it back to its beginning. Right at the very beginning, about halfway in the dark green, about halfway in, it looks like a little blue dot or a little green dot. Now watch it move. And I'm going to play out the video this time a little longer. That was taken by a woman 3 years ago when she was documenting her daffodil garden. And she didn't realize what she had caught in that garden, that little green light, until later when she was, I think this year she was compiling the videos. Anyway, she sent it to a friend of mine who said, "What's that green light at the beginning of this?" And I will show you all again. Took me about 10 times to really see this little sucker. I'm moving it slowly so you can kind of see him move. There he goes. Whoops. We'll set him up to go again. Okay. There it is. It's right almost in the middle of the screen. And I'm going to let him go. And it's really quick. You have to use your sharp eyes to see it. And it flew off the screen, and then it completely disappears. And where does it go? What is it? Well, it's a fairy. The first thing I got was, yeah, this was sent to you, because I can't document the ones I'm seeing out of the sides of my eyes that are drifting around my house now. But and they can be a little bit of a tricksters. They're shy, but they're getting bolder. And follow my channel if you want to see where we're going with this, because
do you think they're getting older, or our ability to see them is getting better?
As our vibrations get better, we can see them.
Right.
That's what I was told. And that's why, if you have small rituals you use in your life to help, so to help you focus on what you need to know. Here's one. I am away from home in Massachusetts. I didn't know what I was doing today, but I ended up in the Action Arboretum, where I'm on a 2-mile hike in the woods. So you're on the right path. You got sent to the right place.
How nice.
Tell the trees you're talking about. Tell the trees you're talking about. Ley line powered trees in Texas. Trees in Texas is in some parts of the state's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
We enjoy sharing. We enjoy when you share and help us figure out what we're doing here, because it's really from learning. That's not my video. I tried to get a hold of the woman who did it. I'm going to try again to see if I can get her to come and talk about it. I tried also this morning to edit it, and I don't have editing software good enough. What I wanted to do is do a close in the bottom of the garden and slow it down a little bit so you could see it. But if I can get tech support to break loose, well, tech support's working real hard. So,
yeah,
and hi, Kathleen. But Dr. Gail has another show after this one. So I'm going to.
The channel is Dr. Gail Skywalking with Moon. And
right.
My show today is all about aliens and ETs.
Yes. Hers is way out there, and mine was way down in the ground.
Yeah, she's in the earth and I'm in the sky. As I said, I mean, that is the message today for here, is for us to connect our bodies to earth. We need our 3D bodies here. It's needed for the earth ascension, and we need to connect to earth.
Yeah.
Our bodies are earth. So that is a big message. It was a big message for me that I'm the one that struggles to ground, and that's the reason why, because our body is earth. Right.
And what I learned from the elementals was, and I believe it or not, I read a thesis that a guy wrote for Oxford University on old Celtic people that were attached in the Celtic parts of Great Britain. And the book was written, his thesis was written in 1912. And it actually wasn't as dry as you would think language wise. He was pretty good. But he went all over the country interviewing people. And what he figured out, what I figured out from what he wrote about, was the Industrial Revolution is when people really got off the land. And that the older people in these communities all, I mean, you just believe the little people were out there. The guys were out there. They could see them dancing out on the knolls and the glens and the things. And they might have slightly different names for them, but they were all talking about the same beings. But the more they got tied into the Industrial Revolution, making a buck, having your day not be connected to the land, or going underground to dig out the coal and not being connected to the land. They met gnomes down in the coal mines. And he interviewed people who had seen them. He interviewed people whose grannies had seen them. And now some of these grannies, when you trace it back, did you hear a funny noise?
Yeah, that came message.
Okay.
And it's Diana Bowles saying, "Do you see your dragon over your shoulder?" She's talking about me now.
Say no, but we saw a bunch of orbs floating around.
Yeah, orbs.
And when you track down the lineage of these families, they had been there before the American Revolution, and they were open, and their vibration wasn't all screwed up by being so 3D. And somebody recognized my bluebonnets. Somebody thought that was a field of hyacinths. No, those are bluebonnets, and they're about this big. That's just a real close-up view. Anyway, the bottom line on this guy was he was talking to people, and he was talking to generations and hearing generational stories of how we lost our contact. And that's basically what the elementals keep telling me is as we ascend, as we change our vibrations and we get more in tune with things, we're going to have to go back to the earth. And that a lot of what man's doing to the earth, Gaia is going to fix, whether we want it fixed or not. So,
yeah, well, oil painter had in there that the tall whites were connecting us, and they are, but it's all of us that are connecting each other now. Humans, ETs, elementals, we're all kind of phasing together.
Right.
So we've got the hybrids and star seeds. I think we're all connecting it all together. The tall whites, yes, but it's Lemurians, elementals, humans. It's all of us that are now joining together.
And the elementals are as tied to the earth as human spirit that chooses to be born here. Right. They're from the earth. They are not from outer space somewhere. They're not another set of beings. They I think what they are ultimately, if you believe in the quantum physics, is they are the manifestations that the human mind came up with. The most fascinating ones, and I'll do another show on dragons, but if you follow every single culture in every single continent had dragons. And their dragons did different things and they functioned differently, but they almost functioned like a reflection of the people who lived there. And when you read the dragon legends from all over the world, they're fascinating. So I will do another show on the different varieties of dragons and how they work. And maybe people will get to understand when we talk about the elementals being here for us. And the thing is that current humanity still reflects a lot of the basic principles they lay on the dragon. But all of the dragons, the word dragon was almost universal across all languages. Or it was some sort of, white dragon. I think you probably would like dragons. It's his comment. I just love dragons. And what I've been trying to do is understand the smaller elementals, the sprites, the fairies, and gnomes, And a lot of them are really connected cross-culturally, except they reflect the culture that they were envisioned by or manifested from.
Right. I agree.
So anyway, I'm going to give you guys one more shot at seeing the fairy. I'm so proud. There it went. Whoops. Got to pull it back. Okay. Here's go. It's about halfway in.
And you're looking at the green dot. Oh.
Yeah, you're looking at the little bright green dot flitting across the screen. And if anybody has a better editing tools than I have, and you'd like to edit this baby, let me know, because
that would be anybody for me, because I don't do editing either.
Yeah, I didn't call Dr. Gail to ask for help about this. If I can ever break tech support loose from their job, I can get some help with this.
Yeah.
But anyway, and if you have, and Roanna, if you'd send me any information you have about what you know about talking in trees, and anybody else, you can reach me at this is my crystal directions nancyjean@gmail.com and https crystaldirections.com. There's ways in, if you come, there's a way to text me off my website. I don't know why anyone would rather do that than Gmail, but they offer it, so you do it, you know? And let's see, we've got one more comment come in. Yeah, we need balance, and we need, you know, it's the card I pulled today for us to look at, and this is where we're going to close, so Dr. Gail knows she's going to eventually get to be out of here. I pulled from the elementals deck. I pulled the Scorpion, and Scorpion attributes: attacking from the rear, which is kind of how I feel about these fairies. Death and rebirth, transmutation of poison, reflecting dark and negative energy back to its sender. And the message from the Scorpion is the Scorpion may not be the warm and fuzzy creature we want to see in our life. But when it shows up, when we're cutting something or someone out of our life, and it's timely and necessary. When we work on ourselves, we move and we heal. We move forward on our own spiritual path. We start to see wondrous changes. But with this growth, we also see people and situations and things falling away from our lives. Like, I'm sure some of my old high school friends would say, like sanity. This also is needed. It may not feel like it, but the Scorpion shows up. Trust ultimately that you're working on your highest level. So we're kind of on that path. We're getting rid of the stuff we don't need to. And, you know, if you think the Scorpion's an unpleasant creature, you're getting rid of the unpleasant creatures from your life.
Right.
And
because right along with what I pulled from the elemental deck, and it was storms, and it asked for cleansing, storms of cleansing. So that would go right along with the Scorpio.
Yeah, that would.
Mm-hmm.
So, see, and she's in Shasta, and I'm here, and that's how the universe works.
Yes. Yes. So.
Oh, oil painter. This is the deck. It's called the Wild Elemental. It's got a big dragon's eye on it. It's really cool.
That does look cool.
So next Thursday, I'm going to have open mic kind of for readings. So, and you'll get a notice if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing in my chat? Not to be critical, but. And we're going to let Dr. Gail have that day off.
Yes. Well, that's a good thing for you. I mean, you're such a good reader. My gosh, everybody should want a reading from you.
Well, it's fun. I really enjoy doing it. So lots of love to all of you, and goodbye. And goodbye, Danny. Now you can go back to really work. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Got to push the second end broadcast to end your broadcast.